Well, I mean, the easiest answer to that is currency devaluation extraordinaire. So gold is an emotional commodity, but it does very, very well in times of difficulty. Really, gold holds its value. It's held its value throughout history.
Welcome to Silver Heist. Thank you to our returning subscribers and guests. We are a channel that likes to hold physical gold and silver. To support my creation, please subscribe. So I have good news and other news. The good news is gold is still a hedge against inflation. Gold maintains wealth and has done so for centuries, if not millennial. The other news is that while inflation started to fade in certain financial circles after spiking in March, April, May, the discussion of copper and lumber prices was kind of at a peak in April. So while copper prices and lumber prices faded over the summer, very recently copper prices back up. So copper is a barometer for local, global economic growth or upcoming inflation or both. And so while lumber prices have come down from their peaks, the value of this lumber mill has now bounced back up. So lumber may not be as high, but it's high enough for a producer positioned for what happens next. So this $9 billion lumber mill is just about to buy a $300 million lumber mill. And so they are getting ready for the next leg up. So you can hold physical gold to prepare for what happens next, or you can even consider buying a company stock that is a producer who is positioned for what happens next. Or you can listen to a producer simply to gain insight into the economy at whole. So no matter what you choose, please do your own due diligence. My guest is doing two important things. First, he is operating a cash flow positive zinc mine, and he is making improvements to this operation to recover more gold and silver for the work that they're already doing. Secondly, they're building a brand new gold mine, which is nearing the ability to start production. Well, we are honored and excited to speak to the CEO and president of Altaley Mining, Mr. Ralph Shearing. I'd like to thank Altaley Mining for sponsoring this video and making their leader available for this interview. Mr. Shearing, thanks for joining us. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
So you're a geologist in the mining world. Can you tell us what countries you've visited searching for gold, silver, or other metals?
Yeah, well, actually quite a few. Obviously Canada, I'm a Canadian citizen and we've explored a lot in Canada. I've been to the Philippines, I've been to the Middle East, Mexico. I've really concentrated in Mexico over the past 20 years and have been developing projects down there. So it's a fairly wide range of venues. And
what's the deepest you've ever been underground?
Oh, good question. I don't know, maybe I would say 1,000 meters type of thing. It just depends on the mine, where you're at.
In 2020 and 2021, the quantity of currency from governments and central banks represents maybe 20% of all the currency ever created. Where do you see all of this leading to?
Well, I mean, the easiest answer to that is currency devaluation extraordinaire. There's so much money being printed. The value of the dollar, the value of anyone's currency has been hammered over the last 10 years or more. So where's it leading? That's a good question. I mean, I don't have the answer to that, but I don't think it's leading to a very good place. And that's why, I'm very happy to be in a gold exploration, development, and production company, because I think gold is an excellent place to be. It's really, gold holds its value. It's held its value throughout history.
Is there a cycle on the horizon where both gold is valued as a defensive asset and base metals are valued as economies expand?
Another good question. And again, I'm not going to throw myself out as an expert on this, but base metals, they drive the production and the economy. There's always going to be a market for them. Base metals prices go up and down. Gold prices go up and down. Gold is a funny beast. It's more emotional. The industrial uses are there, but they're not as pronounced as the base metals. So gold is an emotional commodity, but it does very, very well in times of difficulty. And I continue to say, it holds its value. So my feeling is gold is an excellent place to be right now. Instability around the world, as you say, the money printing machines, the governments are out there printing money like crazy. Gold is a fine place to be to maintain or keep your assets intact. If you have a decent amount of your position in gold, then you've got some good protection.
So can the Fed and its power keep the markets upwards forever? Are you personally preparing for a slowdown or even kind of a correction?
So can the Feds maintain it? Indefinitely, no. I don't think there's any chance that the Feds can maintain the economies indefinitely or the markets indefinitely. Markets have been, there has to be a limit sooner or later where these markets reach, and they will correct. They always do. I mean, I've been through probably 3 or 4 cycles in my experience, and they correct, and they correct hard. Are we preparing for that? I guess I would say that in some ways we are preparing for that, but we're not slowing down. We're going 100 miles an hour on our projects to get them up to produce more precious metals, because that's the key to us in these hard times. If they come, when they come, if we're producing precious metals, we're going to be protected, and our shareholders will be rewarded for that.
What makes Mexico a special place for natural resources?
Mexico is a great area for mineral exploration and development, and it's would be considered to be underexplored from a North American perspective. Like Canada and the U.S. have been, quite hard, largely explored. There's still lots of potential in these countries, but Mexico, because it was in foreign ownership was limited back till about 20 years ago, when that freed up and you could get 100% foreign ownership in Mexican mining projects, then it really opened up to the mineral exploration and development. And that's when I became involved with this company in Mexico, looking for projects, recognizing it as a well-mineralized country. It was the top silver producer in the world. Gold, not so much, but gold is really starting to come on. There's a lot more discoveries and a lot more production in gold in Mexico now because of that increased capital flowing into Mexico for exploration.
So you have two major assets, so we'll talk about them one at a time. If the only asset you had was your Campo Morado mine in Mexico, you've got an interesting growth story. What can you tell us about that operation?
Campo Morado right now is a zinc producer primarily, but it is a deposit that has a lot of tonnage in it, and it has a lot of precious metals. I mean, it's got a good grade of gold and it's got an excellent grade of silver. But the metallurgy is a bit challenging, so we're not recovering a lot of that gold and silver at the moment. We've had some technology that's been tested on this mine back in 2013 from the previous owners that shows improvement in precious metal recoveries, improvement in recoveries of gold, so taking it from 15% up to 60%, and in silver, 200%, so from 40 to 80%. And that's gone through first phase testing very successfully. And we're now in what I term a full court press on metallurgy at Campo Morado. And that's try to get these precious metal recoveries resolved and even potentially increase the base metal recoveries. Towards the end of this year, we believe we'll have a pathway to really increase the precious metal recoveries and perhaps turn Campo Morado into a silver mine. Obviously still producing base metals. It's a very high paying commodity for us, especially when metal prices are good. But if we can improve the precious metals recoveries, then that really makes that mine a different beast. Nothing's guaranteed, but all indications are that this technology has worked and it will work through second phase testing to implement the technology in the mine.
So that new technology could help you with the future mineral resource you mine, but can you go through your old pile?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a tailings disposal facility that's full, is no longer being used. There's a lot of gold, a lot of silver, and even copper and still zinc in that tailings facility. So if this technology works, we hope to take out a good portion of the base metals that are left there, but certainly a good portion of the precious metals. And that would be our plan, that we would probably remine that tailings facility with this new technology and have another revenue stream in and above the ore we'll be producing on an ongoing basis from the mine itself.
So on top of that project, you have a project further to the north in Mexico. What can you tell us about that property?
This project, northwestern Durango, it's called Tahuehueto, and it is a fantastic project. It really is. It's a district scale project. Our company owns about 80% of the prospective ground in that district. We have been exploring and developing along one major structure, and that's where all of our resources and reserves are, which support our mining plan. We're 1,000 ton per day mining operation, which we're building at the moment. And we have not found the limits of the mineralization to depth or along strike along that one structure. And there's 7 or 8 more structures that we know are mineralized that we need to go after and start to explore them. So this is a mine that I'm convinced that, once we get into production, the cash flows will increase dramatically for our company. And we will be able to get exploration going again. We'll be able to bring in new resources and reserves. And I think that we can expand this mine to 2,000 to 3,000 tons per day over the next 2 to 5 years. Behind me is the actual project. That's the view of the Tahuehueto project. So it's topography is very steep, but it exposes a lot of area, and we have very good knowledge of the structures and the veins. And this is going to be a great mine. I mean, we've got 7.5 kilometers of potential strike length along this mineralized district, multiple veins, multiple structures, and we've only really explored along one of those major structures. A very robust mine. We expect to produce gold at about $808 per gold equivalent ounce. So that's a really good profit margin at current metal prices. And if gold goes up, which we believe it will in the environment coming, then it's even going to be a more profitable mine. So lots of good potential, lots of good things happening at Tahuehueto.
Are the permits in place, and have you secured the financing to bring this all online?
Yeah, it's fully permitted. We're actually building the mine right now. We're fully funded to do that. And we expect to have the first ball mill up and running near the end of this year. And then in the first quarter of next year, bring the second ball mill online. And we'll be ramping the thing up to capacity early next year. So production should start near the end of this year.
I saw a pie chart in your presentation of before and after of your metals mix with your two projects together. If these two projects come together as you expect, how do you see shareholder value?
As soon as Tahuehueto comes on construction, we expect to be re-rated as a precious metal producer. And that should give us more value than just a straight base metal producer, which we're recognized now as.
I'm going to leave a link to your company's website and your presentation. You're listed on the stock exchanges as ATLY in Canada and ATLYF in the US. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
This is a bit of news flow coming out. At Tahuehueto, we are upgrading our pre-feasibility study. We'll have a good news flow coming out from the company on an ongoing basis from both the projects, both quarterly reports, construction progress at Tahuehueto, and with the metallurgical testing going on at Campo Morado, we should expect to start to be able to produce results off of that on an ongoing basis over the rest of this year as well.
Maybe just to clarify, updated pre-feasibility study is to sort of upgrade the price of gold, or just other aspects of it too?
It's actually upgrading a lot of things. So when we prepared the first pre-feasibility study, it was back in 2017, we were using 1180 gold. So we're now $1,800 gold. So the prices of the metals will all be upgraded. So we expect a more robust pre-feasibility study. We've also remodeled the mineralization. We have a new mine plan coming out of that, and that's the mine plan we'll be following. So there's a lot of things coming together in this pre-feasibility study that should help, and it should really improve the economic picture of the project for investors.
Well, Mr. Shearing, it was great talking with you today. Thank you for your time.
Well, it's absolutely my pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity, and look forward to speaking again.